Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new review. Today we're looking at a pair of sneakers which of course follows a pretty big trend in 2020, which is Nike's push towards a more sustainable future. So really, you can look at this sneaker however you want, whether it's a marketing thing or whether this is Nike's future. Either way, we can chop it up. In today's pair of sneakers, we have the Nike Air Force 1 in this recycled variant. So here we go, we have the box, and of course this is getting more and more familiar. We saw this with the 2020 version of the Vapor Max, and now we're seeing it with the Air Force 1. So of course when Nike dropped their Space Hippie pack earlier this year, and that turned so many heads, they're bringing this recycled ethos to plenty of different models, and of course now we're getting the synonymous Air Force 1. Pretty much the box is what we have come to expect. You've got Move to Zero is Nike's journey towards zero carbon and zero waste to help protect the future of sport. Now the sizing tag just says Air Force 1 07, so it is based off of the classic Air Force 1 model. Break them out of the box, and here you go, the Air Force 1 recycled canvas. Following again the trend of not including paper, which again is just trying to remove as much potential waste as possible, and again contributing towards the recycled ethos. In the box you do get a pair of these kind of very almost minty green laces. This is actually the first Air Force 1 that is dressed in this recycled way that Nike is making these sneakers. And again, this follows very, very closely to the Space Hippie pack. When Nike released the Space Hippie pack, of course, they were completely brand new models, and it was very, very clear to see that Nike was very proud of their work with this material, being able to bring that waist down so low, and of course it is extremely impressive. It was clear to see that they were going to bring this to a lot of other models. Jordan 1 was dressed in a completely or a more recycled way. So this was actually released alongside an entire recycled pack, which they're calling the recycled canvas pack. Now in that pack was of course this Air Force 1, there was an Air Max 90, there was a Nike Daybreak, and there was a Cortez. This one was my favorite. I did like, of course, the classic Air Force 1. You cannot go wrong. However, I also really liked the Air Max 90. I thought that looked pretty clean with this brand new recycled makeup. This one in particular I thought was very interesting because not only did they make a recycled shoe, but we started seeing a pretty unfortunate trend of them kind of bringing the prices up of their recycled products. So it's cool to see that this one remained at the same £90 or $120 out in the US. You can expect these to release a little bit later than when we got them here in the UK. These released, I think, a day or two ago. However, out in the US, you're gonna have to wait around for September the 23rd to grab yourself a pair of these. All of the pairs of shoes in the recycled canvas pack are pretty similar in design, and I think that has a lot to do with the recycling process that is used on this pair of sneakers. So for starters, like they said on the box, this Air Force 1 is actually made with only 20% of recycled materials by weight. Because when we saw the Space Hippie pack, that was 85 to 90% of recycled materials used in the sneaker itself. And when you get this in hand, or if you get this in hand, it is quite clear to see, especially if you've seen any of the other Space Hippie sneakers, that yeah, they did go a little bit more timid with the recycled waste products on this pair. Hey, maybe Nike is running out of waste in the factory to put into their shoes. That's pretty much how Nike does it. They take a bunch of scraps from laying around the warehouse, things like t-shirts, water bottles, little cutoffs of material that were used to make other sneakers, and it's all ground up and used some way in the pair of shoes. And this is what Nike called Nike Grind. So as you can see, the speckling that you find on specifically the midsole and the outsole, that is all of the Nike Grind. Now, the speckling on this is definitely toned down from what we've seen with the Space Hippie pack and other recycled sneakers like the Vapor Max 2020. So this one definitely has a toned down version, which, you know what, I don't know if I'm too happy about. I wish that, you know, if you're gonna do a recycled sneaker, why not do it all the way? But I'm sure they have a valid reason for only making it 20%. Now, in terms of the materials, we're gonna start on the top, and yes, you can see instead of leather, you have a canvas upper. This dull gray color or darker gray color that you see for the upper of this Air Force One is kind of because it's a mix, again, of a bunch of different materials. Now, it does feel pretty structured, so again, the element of creasing, I think, is going to be toned down a lot with this pair. Definitely not going to get as much creasing as you would on, let's say, a triple white leather version of the Air Force One. For this canvas version, you can see if you look very closely, there's a whole bunch of other colors mixed in. Gray color you get is because they've used all these different other colors. So you can see slight hues of maybe green, some pink, some blues, some oranges, and it's all mixed together. Again, all these pieces are from other sneakers and they're just used in this, which if they didn't put it into this, it would otherwise be thrown away. Now, this canvas material is literally the entire upper of the shoe. So the toe box, the mud guard, medial and lateral, it's the entire thing. Now, the tongue is probably my favorite part of this sneaker because, again, it implements some more of that Nike grind with this little sack, almost looks like a little sack of different elements of foam that has been put into the tongue of this. This doesn't add any more element of comfortability. It's just potentially another way to replace normal fabric with some of this waste product. And again, if you look closely at that tongue, you can see all kinds of different colors, some blue, some white, some black, some red, some orange, some yellow. It's all there in that tongue. And right at the top, you do have a little patch, which again has that very light kind of green or minty green color, which of course would match the laces if that's the option you went with. Now, this doesn't completely do away with the leather because you do still have that leather for the Nike swoosh, and as well on this little back tab, which of course has the Nike branding embroidered in, again, that minty green color. The insole of this sneaker actually surprisingly adds a bit of comfort to the Air Force One. I really like it. It does come in this green color, and of course this is what we have seen for the Vapor Max 2020 and other recycled sneakers. So this is something that they've ground up again, different elements of foam, and created a midsole which actually feels pretty good underfoot. When you see crater foam, you really almost feel the little bits of material. They're almost falling off the shoe, but you don't get that with this. It's pretty much just a very, very slight speckling, and it's kind of in this whitish gray color. And of course, for the outsole, to kind of show you that this is, I guess, a recycled product, they stick with this blue color, which has pretty much been on, I think, the majority of recycled sneakers that Nike has put out. But yeah, the comfortability is pretty average. It doesn't stray too far away from what we know the Air Force One to be like. The canvas material, it's nothing, again, you know, it's pretty solid, which is similar to other Air Force Ones. Now sizing on these is going to run true to size. In my opinion, these fit exactly the same as any other Air Force One, which for me is true to size, so that's my recommendation for you. However, if you do have a pair of Air Force Ones and you're considering buying this one, just go your exact same size. It's gonna fit the same. But again, that pretty much wraps it up for the video. Let me know what you think about the Air Force One recycled canvas down below in the comment section. Thank you for joining me again here today. Thank you for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. I'll catch you in the next one, but until then.